Hey guys, what's up? You guys were freaking out messaging me about this video, so I'm going to explain what's going on. It's Vision versus the Cull Obsidian, or the version they're going to use in the movies. So what this is somebody snagged a bunch of behind the scenes of Vision filming a special effects sequence, so you don't see the other person. They're going to be adding them as CG, getting his ass handed to him. So I changed the audio track on this because it was pretty lame, but here we go. The cool thing about this is that there are very few things in the universe that could hand Vision his ass, and Thanos' forces are really high on that list. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get everything I do Marvel and DC every week. There's going to be crazy behind-the-scenes Infinity War stuff happening this summer. So this basically confirms Corvus Glaive from the Black Order is going to be coming for Vision, probably to get the Mind Gem. So in the version of Infinity, Avengers Infinity, if you haven't seen it, was a couple years ago in the Marvel Universe. It's not the same thing as the Infinity Gauntlet. It's sort of a retelling of Thanos trying to track down all of his children, kill them, and then the Avengers trying to prevent the other incursions from killing their own version of Earth. So it's like the multiverse collapsing on itself because the Beyonders are like, okay, we're done with this experiment, so Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom, and the rest of the Avengers from all the different multiverses are trying to stop all of their Earths from being destroyed. So as Thanos' Black Order was coming for the different gems that were possessed by different members of the Illuminati, so I'll explain who had which gems in a second because it was a little different from the movie version that they're going to be going with. But everything else in the universe was collapsing around them. So it was so crazy. So obviously, I don't think it's going to be this nuts in the movies. They tend to simplify things. But in the movies, Vision has the Mind Gem. In the comics, it was Doctor Strange. So each member of the Black Order is looking for the gems or looking for Thanos' son. So Corvus Glaive, who it looks like they're doing motion capture for here, I'll explain his blade in a second because it gives him all kinds of special powers. He's actually looking for Thanos' son, so he goes to Professor X's school. Too bad there's no X-Men crossover happening in the movies anytime soon. But Ebony Maw is the one that goes for the Mind Gem possessed by Doctor Strange. So he sort of tries to burrow into his mind to try and find Thanos' son. But while this is all going on, the Illuminati decide they need to assemble the Infinity Gauntlet to prevent another Earth from another multiverse from colliding with theirs and destroying everything that they know. So they're blending a lot of modern Infinity elements with classic Infinity Gauntlet, but I think most of it is going to try and be as true as possible to the original Jim Starlin story. So if you look at the Hulk here, he's actually at this bar. They're in Edinburgh filming this scene right here. This might be a version of this Hulk scene because at the beginning of Infinity War, you sort of jump around to a bunch of different characters because at the beginning of the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, Thanos actually snaps his fingers and erases half of all life in the universe. So people like the Avengers all over the place within their respective cities just notice that half of the people just disappear. Spider-Man's like, hey, wait a minute, where'd all these people go? His spidey sense goes off the charts. Captain America notices that Hawkeye just disappears right in front of him. I guess that's bad news for Jeremy Renner because he just left to go start filming his Infinity War scenes with Scarlet Witch. So would that not be hilarious if they did a version of that with Hawkeye in the movies? People complained so much after the first Avengers film how Hawkeye got mind controlled. He really didn't do much of anything in that film. So when they get to the second one, Joss Whedon's like, okay, I'll write a really cool part for you.
None of this makes sense. But I'm going back out there because it's my job. Okay? And I can't do my job and babysit. Doesn't matter what you did, what you were. If you go out there, you fight, and you fight to kill. Staying here, you're good. I'll send your brother to come find you, but if you step out that door, you are an Avenger.
But they've only been filming for a little while, so all this stuff you're seeing here happens relatively early in the film. So in the comics, he lasts a little bit longer, but Thanos, as you can see here, just kind of rips his guts right out and disables him. Because he's an android, he can sort of reconstitute himself. But the movie version is so different because instead of the Sunstone that powers him, it's basically like a solar gem. The Mind Gem itself is what gave him part of his consciousness. So he's sort of the baby of the Mind Gem in Ultron. So what would happen if the Mind Gem part of him was ripped out? Would that lead to a resurgence of the Ultron parts of him?
I've had a vision. A whirlpool that sucks in all hope of life, and at its center is that.
What, the gem?
It's the Mind Stone. It's one of the 6 Infinity Stones, the greatest power in the universe, unparalleled in its destructive capability.
You think I'm a child of Ultron?
You're not?
I'm not Ultron. I'm not Jarvis. I am.
But it seems like what's going on here is that Corvus Glaive is catching Vision by himself. They've talked about the vignetted storytelling, that's what they call it. They're going to be jumping around to characters, so like they're not all going to be standing on screen together all at the same time. That might not happen till the climax of the film after Thanos has assembled the gauntlet and they have to get it off of his hand. Because if you wanted to take the gems from the Avengers, like Doctor Strange who has the Time Gem, Vision has the Mind Gem, the best way to do it would be to catch them when they're on their own and they don't have their friends around to help them. And none of the other Avengers were spotted on set when they were filming these scenes.
2, 1, go!
So Corvus Glaive, one of the most badass members of the Black Order. The funny thing about this is the weapon he wields is a glaive. It gives him a measure of immortality. He can cleave atoms in half. He can pierce the Hulk. He can move with super speed, super strength, super durability. So effectively, he can take on any member of the Avengers. And we didn't really see a lot from Vision during Civil War. I was a little disappointed by the way they used him. He was really there to service more of Scarlet Witch's storyline. I know they tried to tease that romance between the two of them, like there's some sort of relationship, but it was more about her joining Captain America's secret Avengers by the end of the film. So we got to see him use the Mind Gem a little bit, but they said that the movie was all about person versus person rather than God versus God, which is why Thor and Hulk weren't around. They wanted it to feel like there were stakes, and Vision is a god with the Mind Gem, so he didn't really get to be a god in that film. So now we get to have a really dark god come for this Avengers god, so he gets to fully open up. It's like seeing the Hulk unchained on Sakaar, like the craziest version of the Hulk that you've ever seen. So I am so excited to see Vision get his ass handed to him in Infinity War. He'll get a couple good shots in, but Thanos needs to assemble the gauntlet, so let me know, what do you think is going to happen to Vision after they take the Mind Gem from him? Is he going to be like a crumpled up pile of robot parts that'll slowly reassemble itself? Or do you think it'll lead to a resurgence of the Ultron parts of him and he'll go a little sideways? I think it's more likely that he would wind up a pile of crumpled robot parts on Tony Stark's desk. Like they'll feel really sad because their friend's dead, they'll want to avenge him. But just remember, he can heal himself, and what this might be is just part of a journey for Vision as a character to learn who he is without the Mind Gem. Like maybe he doesn't need the Mind Gem the way Tony Stark doesn't need an arc reactor inside his chest to be Iron Man. So if you weren't aware of that, Tony Stark took the arc reactor out at the end of Iron Man 3, but he still has an arc reactor, he still has the armor. So the interpretation of that is that he just doesn't have it in his chest anymore. They found a way to actually remove the shrapnel. They were very unclear about that when Age of Ultron picked up. They're like, does Tony Stark have the reactor back in his chest? Like, what did he do? So I guess we have to assume that it's not in there anymore. He just has them in his suits. So what's going to happen next is WonderCon is happening this weekend. There might be some new footage dropping from the studios, but there's some new Star Wars The Last Jedi that I'm going to try and post. I'll try to get through everything as fast as possible, but leave all your Marvel requests in the comments below. But congratulations to the latest Marvel giveaway winner, Todd Jumper. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. While you wait for that next video to post, you can click here to learn more about the Black Order, and you can click here for the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys in the next video.